Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Assalatu wassalamu ala asrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin Muhammadin sallallahu alaihi wasallam. First of all, I would like to thank Allah Subhanahu wa taala who has given his grace on me so that I can present my thesis. And salam and salawat are addressed to our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who has brought us from the darkness to the enlightenment. So, my name is Sari Wahyuni, and I'm from English Education 2019, Class A. Today, I will present my thesis with the title is Teachers and Students' Perceptions about the Use of Code Mixing in Teaching English. But before I explain my thesis, I would like to say thanks to my advisors, Dr. Nur Aini SPD NPD and Hasriani G SPD NPD, and my examiners Hairul Anwar Korompot MA PhD and Muhmifta Fauzan SPD NPD. I would like to explain the table of the contents. So in this occasion, I would like to explain two parts. The first one is chapter 4, findings and discussion, and the second one is chapter 5, conclusion, suggestion, and implication. So we move to the chapter 4, findings and discussion. The first part is findings. So the finding of the research. So the result of observation, questionnaire, and interview to answer the research questions in the first chapter. The research questions are: first, what are the teacher's perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English? And the second one is, what are the students' perceptions about the use of code mixing on teachers in teaching English? The researcher collected data through observation, interview, and questionnaire. So, observation. During 4 meetings, the researcher found 2 types of code mixing from 3 types of code mixing classified by Hoffman in 1991 in Ivana to 2018. The 2 types of code mixing were interstitial code mixing and involving change of pronunciation. I would like to explain the 2 types of code mixing. The first one is interstitial code mixing. So interstitial code mixing occurs at the phrase, clause, and the sentence boundary. Based on observations made during 4 meetings, it was found that the teacher mixed phrase, clause, and sentence in English and in Indonesian. In this observation, it was found that there were 61 times that teachers used this type of code mixing in her utterance when teaching English in the classroom. This is the example of the teacher utterance. The first one is untuk number 10 apa di situ, and the second one is ya good luck. Coba semua good luck. And the second one is involving change of pronunciation. So involving change of pronunciation occurs at the phonological level. So based on observation made during 4 meetings, it was found that the teacher, when teaching, mentioned English words several times, but modified them into Indonesian phonological structure. In the observation, it was found that there were 27 times that the teachers use this type of code mixing in her utterance when teaching English in the classroom. This is the example of teacher's utterance. The first one is okay lah dibaca di atas and okay group one situation two. Okay and group is a word in English and also used in Indonesian. The next one is a questionnaire. So there were only one English teacher and 60 students in the third year of SMP Negeri 4 Bantimurung taken as a respondents in this research. Based on the data analysis from the questionnaire, it was found that the teachers and the students' perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English are positive. It can be seen from the result of the mean score in the questionnaire that was calculated below. That from this table you can see that the mean score from students questionnaire is 75.44, classified as positive, and the mean score from teachers questionnaire is um, 68 and classified as positive. So the total score from the questionnaire from the teacher was 68 with a total sampling was 1 and the total score from the questionnaire from the students were 2,188 with a total sampling was 29. It was shows that the main score of the teachers and the students' perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English is 68 for the teacher's perception and 75.44 for the students' perceptions, which is classified as a positive. The result of the mean score were supported by frequency and the percentage of questionnaire which shows in the table, in this table that you can see from the table 4.3 teachers perceptions classification and the students and table 4.4 students perception classification. From the table, we can see that teachers and students have a different perception regarding the use of code mixing in teaching English. From the table, 4.3 teachers perception classification shows that 100% of teachers have a positive perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English. And table 4.4 students' perceptions classification shows that there are three, three, 34.48% of our students have a strongly positive perception and 27.58% of the students have a positive perception and 37.93% of the students have a moderate perceptions of the use of code mixing in teaching English. And non-students have a negative and strongly negative perceptions. And we move to the interview. Based on the result of the questionnaire above, it can be seen that 100% teacher had a positive perception about the use of mixing. 10 or 34.48 students have a positive perception. 8 or 2007, 27.58% students who have a positive perception, and 11, 37.93% 3% students have a moderate perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English. These data are supported by statements from the interviews of the teachers and students. As a follow, first one is teacher's perception. Only one teacher in teaching English in the third year of SMP Negeri 4 Timur, and the teacher had a positive perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English. She said that this code mixing was effective for use when teaching, in giving instruction, and explaining the subject matter. And students' perceptions. The first one is strongly positive. There are 10 or 34.48% students who have strongly positive perception about the use of code mixing by the teacher, and they said that the use of Indonesian in teaching English has a very important rule for them. With the help of using the Indonesian language, students will understand learning better than using only English. As it is known that the level of understanding of the English language of students is still relatively low because uh, they just got learning English when they were in their first year at the junior high school level. We move to the positive perception. So there are A or 27.58% students who have positive perception about the use of code mixing by the teacher. They said that students feel happy. Uh, they feel happy with their teacher using code mixing. In this case, in this code mixing English and Indonesian when teaching English, the use of L1 or Indonesian by teacher makes it easier for students to understand what the teacher is saying, such as uh, when the teacher gives instructions, explain material, or gives exercise. That way, students can follow the learning well and can practice effectively in learning. And we move to the moderate perception that there are 11 or 37.93% students who have moderate perception about the use of code mixing by the teacher. So from the students' statement, students feel confused about their English skills. They still feel unsure whether their English will improve with the use of code mixing when the teacher teach. But even so, they think that with this code mixing, they can understand the subject matter, and so their English skills may also improve. This is natural because they are still at the junior high school level where they are just learning English. Next one, we move to the chapter 5, findings and discussion. The second one is discussion. So this part deals with the interpretation of the findings and the explanation of data analysis collected through observation, interview, and questionnaire. The researcher, in line with the result of observation, interview, and the questionnaire, the researcher found that the teachers and the students had a positive perceptions about the use of code mixing in teaching English. It was provided by the results of the mean score and the results of analysis data through observation, interview, and questionnaire. Regarding the result of the data from findings, which showed that teachers and students had a positive perception of the use of code mixing in teaching English. This is inseparable from the purpose of Using code mixing itself, which is used to confirm or provide um, certainly about something, or it can be said that code mixing is used to provide good communication between speakers and listeners. This is in line with SPIE's 2018 research, which says that code mixing is a very effective in communication because speakers will find the best way to be able to convey their message to the intended listeners. For those who have bilingual skills, using code mixing is very helpful for speakers to provide a wider range of vocabulary to choose from to find the right ways to say. Based on consideration of the discussion, the researchers concluded that the use of code mixing in teaching English gave positive reception from both students and teachers as the perpetrators of code mixing users. The reason why teachers and students have a positive perception of code mixing in teaching English is based on how teachers can provide students with an understanding of a learning materials and at the same time can improve students' English language skills. Using this code mixing can make the classroom a conducive environment for learning language such as English. This conducive classroom will bring up students' motivation to learn because motivation is the most important factor for someone who wants to learn language. Next one, conclusion. Based on the findings and discussion of the previous chapter, the researcher concludes that teachers and students' perception about the use of code mixing in teaching English are not positive. This is supported by observational data which found that when learning took place and the teacher used code mixing, learning in the classroom was much more active because students understood the learning material and the instruction from the teacher. This is supported by the result of interviews where, according to the students, they enjoy learning English because the explanations are easy to understand and the teacher herself gave a positive response. Response the code mixing is effectively used in the classroom as a tool for the teachers to provide understanding to the students. In addition, the statement of positive perception about the use of code mixing is supported by questionnaires data which shows the mean score of 57 for the teacher's perception and 75.5 for the student's perception. It was supported by percentage of the questionnaire, which showed that 100% teachers classify as a positive and 10 or 34.48 students classify as a strongly positive, 8 or 27.58% students classify as a positive, and 11 or 37.93% students classify as a moderate, and there is no students classify as a negative and strongly negative. Next one is education. For the teacher, the result of this research is expected to feedback in improving their teaching process, especially in English teaching. The second one is for the researchers. Hopefully, this research can give inspiration and guidance for the next research to be more careful while doing similar research. Therefore, the next research will perform a better comprehension than this research. Second one, next one is implication. First one, theoretical implication. The findings in this study support the existing theory that the use of code mixing in teaching English has a positive impact on students in providing an understanding at the subject matter and can improve students' English skills. This is in line with the theory complete by a journal 2010, which says that the use of the use of students' first language is intended to be provided an understanding of the concrete meaning of the teacher's delivery. Findings from observations and interviews show that students have a positive view and are supported by questionnaire data which shows that average acquisition of the teachers is um, 68 and students is 75.44 and per practical implication based on the theoretical implications above it can be seen that if the teachers use code mixing students will more easily understand learning and improve students English skill. Thus the teacher must pay attention to the use of code mixing. This code mixing is intended to provide students with an understanding of the subject matter so the students are more active in learning. If by use code mixing students are more motivated to learn, then this will help students to be able to improve their English ability. So the teachers need to be wise in the use of code mixing in teaching English by paying attention to class condition and students' English skills. The last one is pedagogical implication. After it was known that this code mixing gave a positive response to the teacher and the students, the teacher the teacher can use this code mixing as a tool to provide understanding for a student and uh, improve students' English skill. Teachers can use code mixing by paying attention to the students' English skill. If students have a very low ability, the teachers can use code mixing by balancing English and Indonesian. However, after students' English skills have improved, the teacher can use code mixing by using more English so the students are more familiar with the pronunciation and the usage. In addition, to not being dependent on Indonesian when learning English. I think that's all for me. Thank you so much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.